Hi, I'm Arlene McIntyre, Creative Director at Ventura Design, and you're listening to Shut the Front Door, a light-hearted podcast that will bring you through the front door and into the homes of influential and interesting people. Home for me is one of the most important things in my life. My career has fortunately given me the opportunity to work closely with people and to help them create a home they will cherish forever. Dylan Bradshaw started out on his career in hairdressing at just 17 years of age. His unquestionable talent and raw approach to hairdressing has earned him a reputation as Ireland's most influential industry figure. Since opening his salon in 2000, him and his team's creative styling has seen them work on many magazine editorials such as Vogue US, UK, and Rolling Stone magazine, to name but just a few. A regular face in the Irish media, Dylan and his wife Charlotte most recently took part in the Virgin Media TV show The Great Give Back. It was a heartbreaking watch, yet beautiful to see the relationship form between these two families. Father to three beautiful sons, Oscar, Ethan, and Dexter, I'm delighted to welcome Dylan to Shut the Front Door today. So thank you for joining me, Dylan.
Hi, how are you? Thanks for having me.
Good. How are you doing, and how are you finding the lockdown?
I was joking actually. I was making the bed with the missus the other day. That in itself is even strange. Obviously locked in, but we were joking about it the other day. It's like these 6 weeks are like a year and fast forward. So the first week was like Christmas, where we were gorging on too much food and probably too many glasses of wine, thinking it was like a holiday. And then by the second week, you're kind of thinking it's like January, where you're going, right, I have to get fit now after that week of not being good. And by the third week, it's kind of gone out the window again, and then so on. And then you're like, now I'm like climbing the walls. It's just I need structure in my life. And I find I've never taken a holiday more than 2 weeks, and then suddenly to be off like 6 weeks, kind of nearly just waiting to kind of get back your routine again, It's been a weird one emotionally.
Yeah, I agree. It's just so unusual, especially if you're just like yourself, super busy and you're used to structure and you have your appointments and you've got a full agenda, diary, full busy day ahead every single day. So I can't even imagine what it's like for you.
Well, I mean, I'm going through what everybody else is going through, but I do think though, we as humans, we do need to have some sort of structure or belonging, if you like. Even the simple things, like I'm in an industry, strip away what I do, but I'm in an industry where it's about that human contact all the time, where you're touching people. But I mean, it's just you're up close and personal with people, and suddenly to have that all taken away, where you can't shake somebody's hand or you can't give somebody, a gentle squeeze, a hug, or that sort of way. It's just It does kind of strip away our kind of basic needs, I think, for human contact. And I do think it is going to play a part on people. And, I think people are going to miss it a hell of a lot.
And what do you think is the future, like if you like, even for the next 3 months of hairdressing?
I think it's not going to be this. We're not going back into a space that we left. I definitely think the industry is going to change. I think service industry will change a hell of a lot. I don't see anything really getting back to the full swing of things. If I'm being really honest, I don't think things are going to be proper until there's a vaccine discovered, because we're going to have to keep health and safety measures where we have to keep space between interaction between people. I don't think I'll be able to have a full team of salon working together. We're going to have to create a shift. We're going to have to create safe spaces for clients and for the team, and so on and so forth. I mean, I'm in the salon twice a week because we're doing lots of online business. So I'm in, sending the stock out, couriers picking up, and so on. So I've been going through the salon. We've ordered in we've all our guards all arrived, all our face guards, masks, all this protective wear, just in case they pull the trigger tomorrow, which I can't see it being the case. I can't see the 5th of May being everything's going to be okay. I'd say they're, going to be more of a gentle approach to bring back. I think we just have to be aware. I think the problem with the Irish kind of mentality, we go back to it. I think everybody's afraid, look, we're all going to start throwing house parties, and there's going to be a big cross-contamination. We're very lucky where we live. We live in Enniskerry, so you can kind of step outside. We've woods at the back of our house, so we can go for a walk for an hour and you're fine. And then You know, if I want to go for a longer walk, I don't see anybody because I'm surrounded by, you know, farmland or people that are on. We're on a country lane, so people's houses are all kind of, you know, hidden away behind gates and, you know, trees and all that sort of stuff, where you're not
Lovely.
kind of in the city, if you like, where I suppose the population is much busier, you know.
So what's it like when you're popping into the city centre right now to pick up your supplies? Is it like a ghost town?
Incredibly strange, yeah. It's like a ghost town. Like everything's boarded up. I mean, you look at like big hotels like the Westbury and stuff like that, where I would normally park. It's just boarded up. It is a ghost town, and it's lost its kind of its heartbeat, if you like. You know, it's funny that you know, it doesn't matter how beautiful a city is. I mean, you're looking at the images all over the world. If it doesn't have the people, it doesn't have the that energy or that vibe or that, you know, pulse, if you like. So yeah, no, it's really weird. I mean, I'm working in the city, you know, 30 years, and to see it like that, it's interesting for sure.
It's definitely interesting that it's happened in our lifetime. I don't know. I recently watched the movie Contagion again. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie.
Every time you turn on Netflix, it's the first movie they have advertised on it. Talk about to make you even more conscious and paranoid. Yeah, yeah.
I know. I mean, incredible movie.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, there's definitely a hair crisis going on for sure. I'm sure you're getting contacted constantly with, you know, people, you know, asking for help and solutions on what to do with their hair between now and whenever we get back to the new normal.
So I had a lot of, for the first 2 weeks, I had a lot of the dads, you know, from the football teams, the rugby teams and stuff, or the dads from the school. So I was doing Zoom tutorials of them cutting their kids' hair, which was fun. And it was great. It's really important to kind of give back, you know, that sort of way. But I didn't want to do it online because the problem is if I do it online, like, you know, like Instagram or something, people will be just butchering people's hair and I can't see what they're doing. So when we were doing it step by step, if you like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I would love to talk to you about you and your first memories of home. Can you share some of that with me? Your first childhood memories of your home?
What would I say? Oh, well, my mum brought the four of us up, so it was four boys. So we grew up in a terraced house in Blackrock in Brookfield, which was four terraced houses together, they're quite normal. They were, I suppose they were 1920s. They were like a 2 up, 2 down with, you know, the bathroom at the back of the house type thing. So that's where we grew up in Blackrock, just off Carrisford Avenue.
Okay.
So my father wasn't around. He kind of left when he was quite young. When I was 12, my parents broke up, I should say. So I think my mum was kind of a hard working woman, you know, she brought the four of us up on her own. So it was hard, you know. It was a good upbringing. My mother was very good, looked after us very well, and, you know, took care of us, but she could only do as much as she could do. So from our home point of view, it was a loving home, but it was at times it was probably a little bit difficult.
Yeah. And what was the home like? Did you have your own bedroom when you were younger?
No. There was 4 sons, so it was a 3-bed. So my mum had one bedroom, she had the front, and we had bunk beds in each room. So there was 2 boys in each room. So it was tight because the rooms were small, you know.
Yeah.
It was kind of like those corporation houses, you know. It was they were quite. And it was a yard out the back, not a garden or anything. It was quite simple. It was a modest house. I mean, my mum did a great job and she did the very best she could do. But it was, when you've got 4 big boys that kind of would eat the size of the house and food, she had her work cut out for her, you know.
And when did you start developing your passion for hairstyling and hair, all things hair?
So when I was in school, I just wasn't academic. And, you know, I find out now after all these years that I was dyslexic. But at the time, I really struggled in school. I enjoyed the friendships I made, and I enjoyed kind of my mates, and I loved sports, but just education was really, really difficult for me, and academia was close to impossible. So my mum knew it just wasn't working out for me. I just wasn't passing the exams, and, you know, I probably was getting into trouble in school because I just wasn't focused. So she just found in our home is if you don't do education, you have to get yourself a trade or something. That's what my mother said. Just get something that will take care of you for the rest of your days. At least you have a trade. So she got me a job as a in a hair salon, never told me. I went up to the local hair salon in Peter Markin's in Leary Shopping Centre when I was 15 to get a haircut. She had lined up a job interview for me, and I remember going in for a haircut. And I'd never gone to Peter Mark. I used to go to barbers. But I remember going in and going, wow, look at all these gorgeous girls working in the place. And when I was getting my haircut, I just kind of was looking around as, you know, a teenage boy at 15. It was like thought I was in a store full of beautiful women. So the manager came over to me and just said to me, oh, I believe you want to be a hairdresser. And I was like, what? And he goes, yeah, your mum was in earlier on and she was telling me. And it was so funny. There was one side of me going, Jesus, I don't want to be like called gay working in a hair salon in my head. But then I was like going, no, actually, no, you know what? There's a lot of hot looking girls in here. I'll definitely give it a go. So that was in my head, I was saying. So I said, yeah, absolutely, I'll give it a go. So I kind of did that for 2 years part-time and then went into it full-time. And I kind of never looked back. I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
And you never looked back. It's incredible. Gosh, you were so young.
Yeah. But that's kind of, I think the thing is, it's if you know, you know. I mean, I didn't have choice. The thing with, and I think that's what's lucky. Sometimes I think we have too much choice in anything now, you know, kids or adults. I think when you've only got like to succeed or fail. If I stay in school, I fail. If I get myself a job that I enjoy, that I love, I mean, I succeed in that. I mean, as far as I doing something that I love, not so far as the success of where it brings you. But if you're happy to do what you do and love what you do, you mean, that in itself is success, you know?
Yeah, well, you clearly love what you do. I mean, you're very successful. You've created an incredible brand for yourself, and you have really interesting clientele. Can you share?
We've every type of clients. Yeah, we've everything. It's great. Like half my business comes from the four corners of the country, you know. So it's a destination space, you know. It's people get in a car or they get on a train or they fly up or whatever it is, and they spent all day getting to you and getting back. So, you know, we have to make sure that we do a good job and we take care of them well and we give them the best service that we possibly can, you know. But also as well, it's funny, people think it's a celebrity salon. It's not. It's just the press that pick up on it. I have plenty of celebs that come through, but we don't treat anybody different. Everybody's treated like every client that comes in the door is a celebrity as far as I'm concerned, because they've paid their hard-earned money, you know. So, like, we have plenty of personalities that would come in and out of the salon, you know. But it's great. It's kind of a lovely texture of people and personalities. And the great thing about what I do is, if you have, you know, I can have a woman who's 90 sitting in a chair that comes into me of a client, and then I have, like, you know, 25-year-old who just wants a complete, you know, overhaul with hair. So your day is never boring. And it's a great energy still. I still love, you know, that interaction every day with the clients and with the team and the fun and the buzz that comes with it, you know.
And you create this amazing kind of lovely experience as well. I think it's the overall experience that you create that makes your salon one of, you know, the top salons, really.
I think for me, I mean, I kind of like to think that we give a great service and then we throw in a good haircut and color with it. You know, that sort of way.
Yeah.
I kind of want to take that your color or your cut that you're having done within the salon is taken for granted. Like, you're paying big money for, you know, to get, and you need to be rewarded by having a great haircut and color that lasts well. Like, the thing for me is even though we charge, you know, a certain amount of money, it has to be value for money. Do you know that sort of way?
Yes.
I don't mean that I cut it really short so it grows out like over. It means that it has to grow out well. And I think some people don't realize, clients, and that's our job to educate them, but also my industry don't realize is that, you know, it's a fabric that you wear every day and people take it for granted. It's not like you're going in to get the grass cut to take it out of your eyes. You've got to wear something that feels really, really good, that you wear it every day, so that if you jump out of the shower and you leave it, or you do spend time to blow dry, it really enhances who you are and really gives you that sort of, you know, as I call it, superhero cape. That's what a woman's hair is to her if it's cut well. And women that don't think that much about their hair, you know, I suppose it's probably a missed opportunity, I would say.
So
I wouldn't say it takes away, but I'd say it probably doesn't transform you the way the possibility of the way you can be,
Definitely, and it definitely gives women confidence and men confidence when they have a good haircut and then their hair is in good
Totally.
condition. It's just
Yeah,
the whole thing. It's all about how you present yourself.
totally. I mean, I mean, I'm laughing at. I mean, you can talk about social media the way people are on, and they filter everything. But sure, why don't you get the best filter ever? Is just a good bloody haircut that structures your face shape, or gives you a lift around your eyes, or whatever the little detailings that you can do. And that's the thing about a haircut is you can detail. And trust me, no woman sits in the mirror and goes, "God, I look great." When their hair is wet and stuck to their head. Every woman just looks at the worst. Their worst things that they have. Oh, I have too many wrinkles, or I have this, or I have that, or whatever. Our job is to kind of help them feel secure and give them that kind of inner strength to kind of go, actually, I love the way my hair sits, or I love the way it suits my face, or I feel younger, or I feel fuller, or if I'm a rounded face, it doesn't make me feel like I'm self-conscious about the width of
Yes.
my cheekbones, or whatever it is. I mean, that's what we do, and that's what a really good haircut is about.
Yeah, it's
And that
totally
they
worth
wear
the
it well.
investment. I would definitely agree with you.
Absolutely.
And what inspires you, Dylan? Have you traveled much? Like, would you have traveled to a lot of other countries and kind of taken away, elements from different salons of what inspired you?
No, the thing for me is, yeah, I travel lots, but my inspiration is, I mean, I love architecture, I love design. I mean, I am a creative spirit. Anything that is out of the ordinary, it appeals to me. I'm not into the same old, same old. I mean, funnily enough, I'm going to rip out the salon before all this happens. I'm going to do a complete refit. But the way I like to do it is I like to take it in a different direction. So when we reopen our salon and, hopefully when things settle down and we're back into the rhythm of things again, of normal life, I will do a refit, and the ideas that I have will, turn it upside down again. Like, I mean, my salon's 10 years old, but it still hasn't dated because it's just clean lines and simple design. It was never supposed to be busy, if you like. It just wears well. The only thing I look at the design now after 10 years, when I look at it and I really want to change it, is I just feel it's a bit cold to look at because of I want to soften it and ideas wise, and I've got great ideas how to do that. But it's great to change. I think it's really, really important to have a deep look at it. I'm 20 years in business next year, and I know in my heart that I have to, take a deep look at my business and kind of go, okay, for the next 20 years, I have to think about what I want to do and what I want to achieve within the business. And I have goals that I want to, I suppose, reach with myself and my wife with the business. And you have to be honest and go, okay, I want to do something different and do it better or change it or whatever it is. But you can't stand still. That's the secret.
Yeah.
And if you stand still, you just kind of get passed by, and that's the problem.
Yeah, and it's exciting to change as well. I mean, if anything, you're doing
Totally.
it because you're excited about it and you want to try something new yourself.
Hmm.
Separate to the business. It's probably home away from home for you, really. Your salon.
Well, it's more home. I mean, the funny thing is, we're talking about, I'm at home 6 weeks, but I'm gone at 6 a.m. in the morning. I don't get back till about 7:30 every night.
Wow,
Yeah,
I
so it's a,
know.
it's a long day. It's a good day. It's rewarding, but I get into town early. I beat the traffic. I go to the gym, have some breakfast, then I go into the salon, shower, ready, have my first meets at 9:30, and then I have my first client at 10 a.m. And it works that way. And then I work solidly booked out 4 days a week in the salon. And I'm happy to do that. I really enjoy working with my clients. And I get a lot out of it, to be honest. I do. I still enjoy it. I mean, I'm 47 in July, so I'm still young enough to enjoy it. I don't want to be stood behind a chair, in the next 20-year anniversary. But I definitely do love doing what I'm doing uh, at the moment.
And how does social media, Dylan, fit into your life? Do you find that it's a big part of your business? Do you bring it home with you?
Um, I got to be really honest with you about social media. For me, I've been a very late starter, purely because the funny thing is, it's like I'm kind of the opposite of social media, and a lot of people have given out to me over the years about it because I've looked after some of the biggest celebrities on the planet over the years, but I don't have a single picture with them. Um, so, and I always did that with the salon. I always said to the guys in the salon, if I send you out and you're going to look after this celebrity that's in to do a gig or something, I don't want to see a selfie. I don't want to see a thing, blah, blah, blah. And we keep to that. Now, it doesn't get me an extra 10,000 or 20,000 followers, but I do think it keeps us old school where we do it in a way that it's, we're protecting it. Now, having said that, I am a bit crusty in that because of that reason. I need to, obviously I need to promote the business a lot more. And I have to be honest and say that's something, funnily enough, with this lockdown time that I've reflected on and I'm working on at the moment. Just even our online business and stuff has gone very, very busy for us, but we've had to reformulate the shop online and it's doing really, really well. But it's just those sort of things I have to put more time and attention in. There's a lot of noise going on social media at the moment, but at the same time, whatever we can do to keep ourselves amused, and if it's fun along the way, great.
I totally agree. I mean, now is the time to connect and to, definitely reach out to people. And it's all about online and Zoom and FaceTime and look.
But do something that stimulates rather than,
definitely.
I mean, the one thing there is so much shit out there at the moment that people feel the necessity just to talk to their phone like they're gone into a room to their therapist. Like, if you're having a bad day, absolutely talk about it. No, but talk about it. But talk about it with your friends first, rather than having to feel the urgency to like share it with like strangers to get more followers.
I know.
There has to be a kind of it's just, I don't know. It's funny. Social media, I find with you, I don't know how you guys find it, but there's so much great qualities to social media, but there's also so much shite to it as well, where you've got people think they're all brands now. Like, anybody that has a social media account thinks they're a brand. And
I know.
And you guys will understand that. I mean, it's 20 years my brand I'm working with and tweaking, and it's like feeding a child and raising a child as your brand. It doesn't happen overnight. You don't know where, you put all this time and energy and effort into it, and you don't know what it's going to grow up to be like, So it's the same thing with your brand. It's
so true. And you have to be really careful about what you do with your brand as well, and what you kind of engage in. I agree with you. I think you have to not get too personal, and I think you have to kind of stay, associated to whatever it is you do all the time, and not get lost really in yourself too much in the whole social media world. Keep it on brand at all times if you can.
No, you're so right, but I think it's a funny one. And at the end of the day, look, I can't really talk as in I have very limited experience with social media, and I am trying to develop it a bit more for myself. But it is that kind of stuff of what you say, what you don't say. Don't feel like you have to go online saying certain things, and or have to feel like you have to comment on every bloody thing that's going on. I think that's part of the I don't know how we gauge it.
I don't know.
But it's a great tool. It is a great tool.
And it's funny because, I don't know if in the future there's going to be like you can have a master's in how to become a social influencer. It's like the future. It seems like, there's a future for this where people will, definitely make a living out of it. They are part of, marketing campaigns, and they take it very seriously. And it is like a business, and they have their own brands. And then you have other people that I suppose that you're talking about where it just gets a bit silly.
So I'm a global ambassador for Dyson, and I do all their hair care ranges and all their tools. So I've done, I do launches all over the world with them. There's five of us that do all their international campaigns and stuff. But and we do launches with obviously beauty editors, but also the social media kind of people. My God, like these guys have unbelievable followers. Like I've taken care of people that have 15, 20 million.
Wow.
They're bigger than celebrities, and they're just, it's bonkers. And these guys have so much pull. People are falling over them like they're A-listers. So yeah, I mean, I've learned an awful lot looking after these people. And in fairness, the quality I will say is they are incredibly hardworking at what they do, and they present their product or their brand with such integrity as well. They don't just throw stuff out for the sake of it, or throw stuff up. It's really well thought out and really well planned. So yes, you're right. I definitely think in the next few years, it's definitely going to become much more premium, and people are going to put a hell of a lot more behind it,
Exactly. And so tell me a little bit, Dylan, about your experience with the Great Giving Back television program you did. That was incredible.
Yeah, I mean, so we were approached by a production company, not Christmas Gone, the Christmas before, and asked us, would we be ever interested in, doing something on TV, or myself, my wife, the family, or something? And I was like, I don't know. I said, to be honest, I mean, I've done TV obviously over the years, talking about, the hair or the salon or something like that, at that sort of level, but something personal. They said, well, look, we don't know what it is yet, but it's about a family helping a family, and maybe it's a family in business helping another family in business. And we were like going, oh, we were joking, going, okay, that's great then. So it's the O'Learys are going to help the Bradshaws.
Yeah.
Because but look, the thing is, they were saying that look, we don't know what it is, but here's the concept. So then they came to us and they said, look, we have, maybe it's a family, but it's not a business. It's a family helping a family. So like myself and Lottie, my wife Charlotte, we've been we always it's very important for us to make sure to give back. Always has been. So we're always involved with charities, and we spend a lot of time involved with charities over the 20 years in business. So when they came to us and they said to us, look, here's two kids that are going through this stuff, but we can't tell you any more. So it's really interesting, as you see on the show, where we're sitting watching the TV screen, where it's been unveiled to us, like the viewers are watching it. So that's why my wife was bawling, and I was trying to keep myself together, because it's very, very hard what these kids are going through, and that's something that we said, okay, fine. The only issue we had was, and we're incredibly private as a family. I'm very rarely on social magazines and any of that stuff. It couldn't be. Don't go to much launches and stuff. Not because I dislike it, just because actually I love going home to my family. We're very close as a family. We kind of do a lot together, So I was a bit weary of letting cameras into our home, to be honest. That was the thing. That was a little bit.
That was the only drawback.
Yeah, because it's just one of those things. But in fairness, the producer is great and the director is amazing. He just kind of made us feel. He said, "Look, yeah, we're going to be in the home, but it's not going to be as, dramatic if you want it to be." So they wanted to bring drones in and all that. And I said, "No, thanks. We're not doing any of that. I don't want it to be. It's about the focus is us helping the kids, not about our background or our home or it has to be the focus is about looking after these kids. So I don't really want it to be like." One of those awful shows like Secret Millionaire or something. It has, to, and especially with the Irish public, we were talking about the brand like that. I'm very conscious of that side of my brand. I don't want it to come across as, something kind of rubbing people's noses in it. It's got to be really, really. I hear you. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of how we got involved. So Connor and Colin, we kind of fell in love with straight away, but we also knew that, we couldn't walk away from these guys, and we couldn't get in there and just get like the shoot was supposed to be a 10-day shoot. I'm sure we shot it over 8 months, so it wasn't 10 days. It was like, because there was so much stuff that needed changing in their lives. Yeah, Jesus, it was even the production company were like, oh my God, I can't believe these, like, how much help they need, because once we start peeling the onion back, we kind of went, one of these boys is going to be dead in by the new year, because Connor was ready to take his own life. He was under so much pressure with his brother, and Colin was just going to eat himself to death. He was literally on the verge of having a massive heart attack. So the power of the change of somebody's home, it's a bit like what we were talking about earlier on. It's like, that's what myself and my wife had said. Like when we had them in the house, it was like, they came over to ours. We said, "Look, we don't want this show to be, those house makeovers. We just wanted to create a home for them that they come home to every day, and they feel security, and they feel that warmth of their house, and they feel that comfort of their, of their living room or their bed or whatever." Of you. Mm-hmm. Well, actually, funny. It was a lot of generous people, friends of ours. We just rang up and said, "Look, I'm putting a golf day on." And obviously, I mean, we raised about 75 grand in a day.
Excellent.
And then I have loads of mates in building and, designers and kitchens and all that. They all threw in everything for free. So I think we got them about 200 grand's worth of a house.
That is
completely pulled out
amazing.
and
Well
redone.
done.
Yeah, it was great.
What's Christmas like in your home, Dylan?
Amazing. Yeah, Charlotte. Honestly, Charlotte puts on. She's a really great housewife, as in, and a mother. And she's a great business partner, but she's puts on a great experience for the whole time. For Christmas, it's such a big deal for us, Christmas, and we would have 35 for dinner.
Wow.
Yeah, because she's got 8 older brothers. So we have everybody over. Now, unfortunately, she lost her mum in January of this year, but she was 90. And so she's the matriarch because she's only got 8 older brothers. So she's still, even though she's the youngest, she still runs the household for them all. She'd be
So
still
you
like,
came from a family of 4 boys, and then you
yeah,
had 3 boys, and she had
yeah,
8 brothers. That's insane.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay,
It is.
sorry. Just that.
No. I mean, it's a busload. It is. There's plenty of there's like, it's an ostrich we have for Christmas, not a turkey. But it's good, and the family stay over for a day or two, and my family come up as well, but they go home. But her family, half of them stay over for 2 days, and we kick them all out. No, Christmas Day, and we kick them out on Stephen's Day after we do lunch for them, and then we switch off, and then we just don't answer the door for about 3 days.
Sounds
But Christmas
good.
is great. The kids have an absolute ball, and Charlotte really puts on she loves decorating the house. She loves decorating the house for Halloween. She loves decorating the house for Easter. It's like she loves making
She goes
a
all
really
out.
good effort. Yeah, and I think it's it's something that I think hopefully now when our kids have their kids, hopefully they bring the kids back to the house, their kids back to the house, our grandchildren as well. To that kind of Christmas environment. Back to the Griswolds.
How would you describe your own style in the home, like interiors wise?
Yeah, it's really nice. I mean, I'm biased, but we have a beautiful home. We have. It's a weird one. It's a really practical house. Like, we have lots of space. We've a couple of acres of gorgeous mature gardens. I bought the house 15 years ago. Not that we knocked the house about 5 years ago and rebuilt it from scratch. But we have all downstairs is all sliders that slides out into the garden, and then all the rooms internally are rooms, but then everything slides open that you can make the house big and for entertaining. But then you can also close it away so you can have space away from the kids or the kids from you. But it's practical in the sense all the kids have their own rooms. We have the kitchen is the heart of the house because we love cooking. My missus loves to bake. I love cooking, and so I'm cooking with Derry. And it's kind of an entertaining house. It's done really well, but it's not precious. Do you know that sort of way? When you have 3 boys, it's like having 3 sheep in the house. They just bounce off everything, break everything, kick everything. Run in the door with dirty shoes. So it has to work, it has to function, but it also has to feel like you're, I mean, I love home. That's the thing. As in, Charlotte's made a beautiful home for us. So I really enjoy coming through the gates at night and driving up the driveway, and then I'm home. It's like,
I love
there's
hearing
security
that.
to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're a bit of a homebody. You prefer to be at home perhaps than traveling all the time nowadays, especially.
See, I used to travel all the time. So I would look after, bands or celebrities that were doing a promo or whatever it was, and you'd go away. So you go away for 2 weeks at a time, or I'd get a call on a Friday. We need you to do a video shoot in LA on Sunday. You drop everything, go to that, do that job, come straight off the flight, go straight into the salon. But actually, as you get older, and I think that's the journey all of us go through in life, is that you understand what's the most important things to you, and how. So then you make your decisions around your family. When I opened my business, I was 27. I had no girlfriend. I was incredibly driven, and nothing was an obstacle. I just kind of ran through it because I didn't have any distractions. And I don't mean that as a negative. Like, my distractions would be my home life, my family, my wife. in the sense that I have to, whatever decision I'd make, I'd kind of go, now, how would this suit me as a family? How does this work for me? So I've reduced a lot of my traveling. I just kind of gave a lot of it away and said, you know what, thank you so much for the opportunities, but I'm doing this 30 years now. I need to kind of just enjoy these times. And that's why I gave up working Saturdays about 3 years ago. So I can stand on the sideline with the kids and do all the driving and all that sort of stuff with them. So that's my treat to me as a business. So I work hard so I get Saturdays off, which
My God,
in my industry is no, you know.
That's so true. I've just done the same thing myself. Recently, I've had a baby, and 8 months ago, and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm taking Saturdays off, and I worked.
And
every
how does that
Saturday
feel
for
when you
100
said
years.
that? Yeah, yeah, the same as me. And how did that? Like, I mean, there's a guilt element at the start when you do it. You're kind of thinking, oh, did I make the right decision? Am I doing the right thing? But it's the best thing in the world. And
it is. And I really look forward to the weekends in a different way than ever before.
Isn't it so weird? Yeah, because my weekend was Sunday, Monday. And like, I'd be nearly like pottering around the house on my own after the kids gone to school on a Monday, or my missus was gone to work. So no, it's great that you can have that Saturday off and give that to your...
And it's the best gift you can give yourself, is having that day, those 2 days off.
And your family.
Yeah, with your family, 100%. And just doing nothing.
I'm just thinking of all that time you and I are going to save our kids from therapy now, because we were standing on sidelines on Saturdays.
From having therapy sessions on Instagram.
Exactly. Having a one-on-one with their 5,000 followers, yeah.
So tell me, who are your style icons?
As in a man, what clothes they wear, or women, or in what sense?
Whatever comes to mind. Who have been major kind of icons for you in your life?
Well, McQueen for me is the god, you know, above and beyond. I think anything McQueen put his hand to for me was just
honestly
sublime.
So talented.
Yeah, he just, you know, it just was so raw, his talent. And I think it just spoke to me more than any of the designers. I mean, I take great inspiration, you know, from designers but I kind of like, he was the loudest speaking to me for sure. I mean, there's something beautiful about different designers and what their strengths and their weaknesses are. But I think McQueen used to it was something you'd look forward to as a collection. But not only that, is his visuals. I mean, even his shows that he put on were just, you know, they were so dramatic, so dramatic.
Totally. Did you see the exhibition in London a couple of years ago?
Yeah.
With Isabella Blow? Incredible, wasn't it?
So I saw the Isabella Blow and I saw the McQueen show as well. I went over to the two of them over to Summer House. What's it called? Anyway. And I went over to see them. It was amazing. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. And Isabella Blows as well. And then you saw the documentary as well, the McQueen documentary.
Yeah,
it was very sad. I mean, that's the thing about a lot of these great artists, they suffer. But
I know, he was just a sensitive little soul, really.
Yeah, totally. And probably surrounded himself by probably not the greatest people, but that's what happens. And then unfortunate corporate business kind of, you know, probably drove him too hard as well, you know.
Fascinating. Himself and Philip Tracy and Isabella Blow, they were just so interesting. That exhibition was absolutely incredible. I wish they'd do another one.
Absolutely, yeah.
And who would be a dream client for you, Dylan?
So the dream client for me, and this is not celebrity based at all, believe it or not, is just somebody who's actually willing to take on your advice. There's nothing worse than a woman coming in and she spent 8 weeks trying to get an appointment, and then she nearly has her arms folded and tells you this is what she wants. And she hasn't been happy with her hair for the last 10 years. So you just need to have people who are open and to listen to the professionals, a bit like yourself, you know?
Yeah, I know. I got it. And do you have a lot of clients that would be like showing you pictures of what they've seen or in magazines, and I like this and I
don't mind that, or and pulling up stuff on their phone. I have no issue with that, because that's a form of communication. People unfortunately can use wrong terminologies, and you can't explain something visually if you need to have some sort of visuals to show so people can communicate and meet somewhere in the middle for sure. I don't have any issues with that. would just like for people is to kind of, you're going to spend a lot of money if you're going to come to me. And I am really good at what I do. And I don't say that in a boastful manner. I kind of have earned my stripes. But I'm really good at getting to understand the person that sits in the chair. Like for me, the consultation is much more important than the haircut. Because there's no point in me giving somebody a haircut if I don't understand who the person is that's sitting in the chair. So you've got to really understand. I mean, in the same like yourself, you've got to understand that I'm not going to make something that I like. I've got to make something that the person sits in the seat that they're going to like. Because it defeats the purpose. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. You need to understand them, their lifestyle, what they like, what they do for a living. I mean, all those things come into play when you're, working with certain clients. In fact, all clients, you need to understand all these things.
So if I have somebody in to me for the first time, I spend 15 minutes with them, and it's not like it's timed, but in my head, it's like, that's the time I'm going to give them. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to them for the first 5, maybe 10 minutes before, and even without even talking about their hair, just to get an understanding who they are and where they've come from and what's brought them through the front door today. And then once you have that once you understand that, who that person is, then your options are limitless. Then you can really win somebody over and understand their strengths and their weaknesses, their phobias, their confidence, whatever it is that you need to kind of tap into. Like that is the really, really, really important.
And when do you know that when your clients need a change? Like at what point? Like say if you've been doing a certain style that has suited them for possibly 3 years, or a certain color or cut. At what point do you kind of go, okay, it's time for a change?
Sometimes, I mean, I always work and always try and think of like spring, summer, autumn, winter when I'm doing somebody's hair, because our complexion's totally different. We have obviously more color on our skin tone at this time of year. But also in the winter, we're going to feel tired, more run down, more pasty, more pale, whatever it is. So you've got to be, even with color or how you style hair, you've got to be more complimentary, to a person and their lifestyle or how it looks on them. So I think it's always good to have those conversations and engage. Lots of people love just going for the tricks, if you like, of what they're reading off beauty editors, like a new type of bang, like fringe or whatever, or so on and so forth. But they're only like little minuscule changes, which are great to do because they keep you kind of that keeps you going all the time,
So, do you believe in trends, Dylan?
I do, but I believe that create your own trends. I don't believe following everybody else's trends. I don't believe that's something that's mass produced. I don't think that's a trend for me. I think what it is, it's I don't know how to do. I suppose, of course, it's a trend. I'm probably contradicting myself, but what I mean is, I think a trend is something to create, not to. My mum always used to say to me when I was a kid, and I never got it until I got it, is be a leader, not a follower. And I really do believe that, it's nice to not always follow what everybody else is doing, maybe take it in a different direction. And that's kind of nearly going back to the McQueen, reference. It's like, it's nice to kind of have a say, not follow the trend, but create the trend, that sort of way.
Totally. You have your own approach, do it your own way.
Yeah. I mean, and it's okay to make mistakes, but it's good to be different. That's the thing. I think it's really important that we try and be different.
Yeah. And where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
I tell you, if I knew where I was going to be in the next 5 months, then I could tell you where I'm going to be in the next 5 years. Oh, stop.
Where would you like to see yourself in the next 5 years?
I'm gonna rip the salon out of a new concept idea of a space and idea, and I'm gonna go with that. Okay. New service kind of idea, and that's kind of my drive. I'm definitely driving other areas of the business, and maybe I'll have 5 or 6 more followers on Instagram by that time as well.
And do you have any regrets?
Have I any regrets? No. I mean, none that I admit. That sort of way. It's like I'm incredibly conscious of like failure, but you can't look back on the failures. I mean, my wife will tell you, like, I'd be lying in bed going, Jesus, I need to get that thing done. I didn't do that right. I want to do better. But I don't look at it as in, I've made plenty of failures over life, but I wouldn't be able to have what I have now if I didn't fail.
Yeah, the building
So
block.
failure is part of. I think there's too much emphasis on success. Everybody thinks success is this end destination or this goal you get to, but success is like, for me, success is going to be the new success is in 6 months' time, is if your business is still open.
For sure.
For a lot of retailers. So that's a different kind of standard of success. So success for me is I have a lovely home. I have a great wife. My kids almost love me. And there's that element, and that's kind of partly. I know if I'm like my 47-year-old self would say to my 27-year-old self would say when I started my business was like, you don't have to run there. You can walk there. You can take your time, and you're going to make plenty of mistakes, and don't let that be the lasting impression. That's part of what we do, and I'm going to make more mistakes when I get off this phone, and continue to make them. But I still want to have a business that's relevant. It's very important for me that Dylan Bradshaw is still incredibly relevant in the Irish scene, and not from a trend point of view, like what we said, but that it's a brand that people kind of go, yeah, I know who that guy is. Funnily enough, a lot of people know who I am, but they don't know who I am until that TV show, because people thought I was like this 65-year-old man or something. Because, and I suppose that's probably great because the brand has been around a long time, as in the name. But I wouldn't really live my life in front of a camera or, at anything socially. So I think that's probably a bit to do with it. But maybe they'll all know me now when I start having my one-on-ones on Instagram.
It's great, though. I mean, you're a fighter, and, you're an extremely hard worker. You're determined. You're extremely talented. So, I really wish you every success in the future,
thank you so
Dylan.
much. Thank you so much. It's been
really
a pleasure.
do.
It's been a pleasure to talk to you guys. It's been, and it's so nice to have, people like yourself doing so well also,
And can I ask you the final question? If your home was on fire and you had 3 objects in your home to save, your family's outside. Okay. What would they be?
Oh, that's really hard. Like my only, I suppose, hobby is anything can be replaced, within the house, and we would be okay with it. But I actually love art.
Mm-hmm.
So it would have to be a couple of pieces of just arts that I like, that I know that I wouldn't be able to get again. So I suppose it would be that. I'm trying to think, is there anything that, no.
Photos?
No. Yeah. Photos? No. Sure, have it on the iCloud now. That's the problem. It's mad. It's actually, although if you ask me to access how to get them, it'll be a different story after this farce of trying to get earphones onto my laptop. 3 things that I take out of the house. Jesus, that's a tough one now. There's a couple of pieces of art, I would say. There's probably a nice bottle of wine that was left to me a very long time ago by a very close friend of mine. And what would I say? What else? Jesus, what? A nice watch, maybe? I haven't a clue.
They're good answers.
There's a watch that I have 3 watches, and I bought 3 watches, or I was gifted 3 watches from my wife over the years for, a day I got married, my 30th, and my 40th as well, actually, which is funny. And those 3 watches are for my son, so they're probably the 3 things I take out. I always said those 3 watches are for my 3 boys when they get old enough. But I don't really have. I'm very. My wife will tell you I'm actually incredibly normal when it comes to. I don't have anything of great expense. I think art is probably the only thing I really do probably spend money on. And I have a 10-year-old car. I'm not into bling. I do have a stunning home. I will say that, and I don't mean that in a boastful manner. That's the only thing we probably put our money into is our home, because it's our kingdom. It's where we live. It's where we spend all our time. So, if the house burnt down tomorrow, it can get replaced. It's not the end of the world, as you say. Like, 3 kids and my wife are outside. It's not really the end of the world. Is that the longest answer you've ever had to that question?
And final question. What advice would you give to your younger self or somebody else who was thinking about getting into the business of hairdressing?
Get into it for the right reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Without sounding corny and old fashioned, it's about human connection. That's it in a nutshell. If you can make a connection with somebody and you take care of somebody really well that's in your seat, let's forget about your skill set about hairdressing and how good you are. If you, for example, I suppose, are able to take care of somebody in the seat, and make them feel amazing in the time that they're there. Not that kind of artificial amazing, as in because we give a good service, but actually that you make a connection and that you can make a lasting impression on somebody. That, for me, is why you should do what you do. That's, for me, is what the service industry is about. It doesn't matter if you make coffee or if you cut people's hair or if you're serving at a table or whatever it is. But if you can make that connection with people, that, for me, is what the service industry should be. And I think more so moving forward, where everything is becoming much more clinical and AI and all that sort of stuff, is I think it's like good old-fashioned manners. It's going to become less and less common. So if you can do that, I think it will make such a difference to people.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a few quick-fire questions. You ready?
Yeah, go for it, yeah.
Okay, tea or coffee?
Tea.
Bath or shower?
Shower.
Text or talk?
Talk.
Socks or jock?
Oh, jocks.
Bedside, left or right?
Right.
Red or white wine?
Red.
Taxi or walk?
Oh, taxi.
Home or abroad?
Oh, God, it'll have to be home, obviously.
High street or couture?
High street.
Eat in or take out?
Eat in.
Pearly or straight blow dries?
In between, not curly, not straight. Yeah, but I would go. I hate curly because they're Irish dancers. Blow dries, I hate them. Go on.
Okay, so kind of wavy blow dries.
Yeah, just natural, soft, loose, unhairdressery looking. That's what I like.
Okay, and Kanye or Donald Trump?
Oh, equal dickheads, to be honest. I used to love Kanye, but he, two of them actually talk too much. I'd actually nearly go with Trump than Kanye.
Okay, nearly. Good answer. Dylan, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. It was great. Really enjoyed it. I'm sorry you didn't get a word in. I haven't spoke to anybody in 6 weeks.